Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Political Pegasus here, bringing it back to you guys in Remnant from the Ashes, and today we'll be taking an all-new look at my twisted Scavenger build. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so for my loadout here, it is going to be as followed. For my handgun, I am using the Hive Cannon. From there, I'm using the weapon mod attached onto it known as Hive Shot, and is a non-removable mod. From there, for my primary gun, I'm using the shotgun with the weapon mod attached onto it, known as Swarm. I am using, for my melee weapon, Scythe. I am using one-piece ritual set for the helmet. Then I'm using two-piece raider set for the chest, as well as the pants. Then from there, I am using Twisted Idol for the amulet. For my first ring, I'm using Scavenger's ring. And then for my second ring, I'm using Blood Font. Now, enough about that, let's go ahead and dive into traits. Now, one of the primary traits I'd highly recommend going for is going to be as followed. Quick hands. Then from there, I would definitely recommend going for a Scavenger. And then last but not least is going to be Spirit. These are the three main traits that I would highly recommend going throughout the course of the build in the day to go about formulating the build as thus that you see. Now, one of the things that I will say is that you can get every trait within the course of the game, so I highly recommend going about minimaxing this build as well as anyone to happen to go about doing by getting every single trait within the course of the game because there is no set cap limit. Now, with all that in mind, let's go ahead and jump over into some gameplay. Alright, so we are here on Earth playing on Apocalypse mode. So today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm actually going to go into why I decided to pick these set items that I did. Starting with my handgun. So the reason I ended up doing the Hive Cannon is because I needed a weapon that has a little bit of AoE potential as well as range output. And from there, if you guys haven't noticed already, I was trying to go for more or less of a theme when it comes to the whole corrosive aspect. With that being said, the Hive Cannon fit that theme pretty well, allowing me to justify the fact of being able to not only get range, but AoE damage off of that set Hive Cannon. So that's one of the particular reasons I did go with the Hive Cannon. I also like it because it can synergize very, very well with the shotgun. Because of the fact that I can literally throw down the Hive Cannon mod and it creates a more or less a corrosive field around that surrounding area, and then from there I can lace into enemies that happen to be in that corrosive field and weather them down as they pass through it. Now, one of the reasons I ended up going with the primary gun known as the shotgun is because of the fact that I was going for more of a running gun type of style build here. Now, what I've noticed a lot about the shotgun is that it can 1 to 2 shot a lot of enemies, especially the closer they happen to be. So with that being said, I felt it was a very, very nice fit when it came into this particular armor set because it allowed me to quickly transition on one-shotting enemies to collecting scrap to allowing me to heal myself and so on and so forth. So it just transitioned very nicely. Plus, I feel as though the shotgun is a very, very fun weapon to utilize. Not a lot of people use it because they feel as though it's not one of the most unique weapons in the course of the game, but it's super fun and agile. But that's one of the reasons I did end up using the shotgun. Now, one of the reasons I did use the weapon mod known as Swarm that's attached onto that said shotgun is due to the fact that I need a little bit more power output. Swarm can capitalize on the massive amounts of power output within the course of a lot of the builds I happen to go about doing just because of how powerful it happens to be all on its own. With that being said, not only is it very powerful, it's also very utility based because it does bounce around from target to target, allowing you to consistently keep up any procs that you happen to have as well as consistently apply damage and clear out multiple adds. So it just ends up stacking and synergizing very, very well. On top of all that, I also picked it because it ties into that whole corrosive type of theme that I was kind of building into this set character. One of the other reasons I did end up picking a lot of the mods that I did happen to do, such as Swarm that you see here, is because each mod changes the look and feel of the weapon at the end of the day. So with that being said, it kind of all fits that kind of theme and style I was really going for. So it's one of the things that I really wanted to focus on when trying to make this build as a whole. One of the reasons I ended up going with the Scythe. I went through the Scythe because it was a fast-paced pretty much quick, agile-based weapon that allows me to go about cutting down my enemies very quickly, and also did a lot of burst damage, which was very, very nice. So I just ended up going to Scythe just because of that fact, and I think it did fit the theme of the build pretty nicely. The reason I went for my armor set with the one-piece rituals and the two-piece the Scavenger is because of the fact that the two-piece Scavenger allows me to go about collecting scrap. I've always loved the concept of this build because it is, this armor set, because of the fact that it is very unique in itself. It allows me to go about running around collecting scrap without actually having to pick up any scrap, and on top of that, it also gives me bonus damage output when I do so. So at the end of the day, it works out really well when it comes to looting as well as shooting. So at the end of the day, it works in conjunction with one another pretty nicely. So I don't have any real issues with it. I just couldn't synergize the build accordingly because it's not one of the highest damage dealing builds, and it's also not one of the most tankiest builds. So when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I was kind of at a loss. But synergizing it in this format with the rituals piece for the helmet, it allows me to go about capitalizing on quicker mod regeneration. So basically the rituals helmet allows me to passively regenerate my mods, which then in turn allow me to do more damage, consistently keep AoE output up, as well as just continuously progressively sustain myself regardless of any enemies that happen to go about encountering. So it is really nice. Plus I do feel as though this armor set did fit the theme really, really nicely. With the skin that happens to be attached onto this, as well as the one-piece ritual set for the helmet, looks fantastic. With all that being said, I ended up doing Twisted Idol for the necklace, just because of the fact that I wanted to be able to take more than one hit on Apocalypse mode. This isn't the most mobile build, but it's also not the heaviest build, so I can maneuver quite nicely. However, I can get overrun pretty quickly because it doesn't have a lot of AoE, so I wanted to be able to take more hits, so that's why I ended up doing Twisted Idol for the necklace. Also allowing me to make me lighter too, so I get faster rolls. I went for Scavenger Ring because I wanted some self-sustain. The self-sustain off of Scavenger Ring, I will be honest, basically it kind of sucks. Oh, excuse me. But it is really nice synergized with your Blood Font Ring, because what happens is Blood Font increases the overall healing potential you receive over any type of healing whatsoever. So every time I pick up scrap from the Scavenger armor set, and then it ties into the Scavenger Ring, I instantly get healed, the scrap instantly comes to me, and I also get double the healing percentage because of Blood Font. So it all synergizes very, very nicely. And from there, I don't really have to consistently keep popping pots as much as I usually do in all of my other builds, because I have really nice self-sustain with this particular setup. One thing to note is that I did find out with this particular build is that it is a very intricate playstyle. Basically, you do have a lot of single shot damage potential, but one of the things I did notice that if the enemies got too close, you couldn't use Hive Cannon. As you saw there, I ended up bouncing off the wall a lot, so I ended up hitting myself, so you want to be really cautious in that regard. Another thing is too, you want to be cautious for is that the shotgun has a very, very long reload time, so you want to capitalize on this by utilizing tactical positioning, where you're spacing yourself out between you and the enemies, so you can instantly swap the Hive Cannon if needed, while applying AoE output damage to those set enemies with Hive Cannon, as well as making sure that you have time to reload if necessary with your shotgun. So that's one thing I have also noticed. Another thing is too, in a lot of boss fight encounters, you will notice that you won't end up picking up a lot of scrap. However, in particular boss fights, there are areas of that set boss fight you can actually pick up scrap and consistently keep up your damage bonus with this particular build. So it happens a lot more than what you guys might think, so I definitely take advantage of that aspect and not only utilize it to be able to increase your damage, but to continuously heal you too. So in reality, this build overall is a lot of fun. I had a really good time with it. I do feel it's really unique and interesting in itself. I do think it looks absolutely incredible. And at the end of the day, I do think everything ended up synergizing quite nicely together. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Also, let me know down below in the comment section if you guys like this format and style of me explaining how or why I ended up picking these set items in the course of my build, to give you guys a general idea of what's going on in my head and basically give you an overall breakdown of what I feel and why I made this build the way it did. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it, guys. I'm going to let the gameplay play out here in the background, but if you guys have any questions, concerns, and comments, go ahead and post it right down below. And from there, if you guys haven't already, I hope you guys have a really good day, and I hope to see you guys real soon. Later.